folks, and welcome. You join me next to an Aston Martin DB11. Now this car's been around now for a few years, but I haven't properly had a go in a twin turbocharged 5.2 litre V12 DB11. I had a go in the 4 litre AMG V8 and I found it okay. So I wanted to know what the twin turbo V12 car is like, and more importantly, is this a proper Aston, a proper fully fledged Aston? Because obviously it's got a couple of bits that you find from Mercedes-Benz, which I don't find too much of a problem, but some other people might find that a bit of an issue. This car has been kindly lent to me by Dell, who has been a subscriber of the channel, so a big shout out to him for letting me have a go in his pride and joy, which he dailies all the time. So we are on some lovely country roads, and we're going to drive this car in a mellow and calm fashion. And maybe the odd skid or two. Here we are then in the Aston Martin DB11. It's quite nice to jump back into this. What is it that makes you feel special? Well, let's talk about the cabin. Well, Aston Martins know how to make interiors. The last one, the previous generation DB9, that car had a really cool cabin. It had all the nice crystal bits, the nice starter bits as well too. In fact, the DB9 was in production for over a decade at least. And obviously this DB11 has been around now for 3 or 4 years. So under the bonnet you've got a 5.2 litre twin turbo V12 made by Aston Martin. You can have the 4 litre V8, the AMG engine, which is really, really good. But this V12, it's just so nice. I mean, let me drop it down a gear. Yeah. It's quick, very, very quick. I mean, this car will do the best part of 200 miles an hour, and it will do it very, very easily. It's super, super quick. The paddles, obviously when you drop it down a gear, it's actually quite alright. It's a little bit lazy, but like I said, for the nature of this car, that's what you want it to be. So let's talk about the styling a little bit, because when this car was first unveiled, I wasn't sure about the way it looked. It looked a little bit overweight. There was a couple of bits of overhangs, a couple of bits where I wasn't quite sure about. I was a little bit like, not too sure. The wheels look lovely, because obviously those are the wheels that you find on the Vantage, but they were first introduced on the DB10, which was the car made for the James Bond film Spectre. That car gave a bit of an insight as to what the Aston Martin range is going to look like in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, and currently this is one of the first ones, the DB11. Interior, they share some of the bits in terms of infotainment and software stuff that you find from Aston Martin. People moan about that. People moan the fact that this car has the switchgear from Mercedes-Benz. Why wouldn't you take it from Mercedes? It works. The steering wheel, it's square. It's a bit odd to look at, but you kind of get used to it after a while. It's not really too much of an issue, and because you've got quite a quick rack, you don't have to constantly sort of shuffle around it. If you were, then obviously that would become a problem. Now the DB9, that was a car that was very, very elegant, sleek, you know, crisp. It had this sort of low slung look to it. It was just a beautiful looking thing, and it was also very, very good to drive. It was a very good sports car, but I wasn't sure if it was much of a GT car. It had more sporting than it did sort of comfy abilities, and that's where the Bentley Continental GT always had the upper hand. But this is really taking the fight to the Bentley Continental in terms of ride comfort, because this car, wow, this car rides nice, very, very nice. So there's 3 settings for the dampers, and when you whack it into the most hardcore setting, it will put the dampers into the Sport Plus mode. But if you knock it back into Sport, which is actually the nice in-between setting, you get a little bit control from the rear, because obviously in comfort it does tend to wallow around a little bit, but once you want to pick up the pace and drive it a little bit more in a sporting fashion, this car's nice. Yes, it might look big, and it does weigh about 1700 odd kilos, which isn't light, but this car's up for a play. Can I tell from this compared to the V8 that this is heavier at the nose? Maybe if I was on a track, but how many people are going to take a DB11 to a track? They're just not. The engine, to be honest, you can rev it out to 5,000–6,000 RPM and you get so much reward from it, but there is one problem. It's a bit too quick. Other than bone dry conditions, this car will spin its wheels in 3rd and 4th gear, and you have to be very careful with how you modulate the throttle. These Bridgestones are specifically developed for the DB11, and it has its own code name, 007. How cool is that? Brakes, I don't think it quite has the power to deal with this mass, but these are still brakes. I don't know if you can spec them with ceramics. Maybe at this price point it should come with it as standard, but the engine is really good, really good. It doesn't sound turbocharged. It definitely feels turbocharged from all of the torque, and this combined with a very fluid chassis and good damping and really nice ride quality. This particular spec on the car, grey, I think that's the colour to have for the DB11. It works with the line so well. When they first launched it in the beige and the burnt orange, I didn't think much of it, but now, spending a bit more time with this car, it's lovely, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, this wouldn't be a review without some bad points with the DB11. I think styling wise it's not quite as sleek as the DB9, but it's one of those cars, it will just grow on you over time. And also it's not a car that, from the pictures or from the videos at least, that strikes you at first, but spend a little bit of time, get to know it, and also more importantly drive one, and you will appreciate it. When I first had a go in this, I had a go in a DB11 Volante with the V8, and if you ask me which one I'd go for right now, you've got to have the V12. It's not an Aston Martin unless you go for the proper V12. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think about the Aston Martin DB11. Would you have one of these over the new Bentley Continental GT or the BMW M8? I mean, that's a no-brainer. I think anybody would have this over the BMW M8. I think I'd have other BMWs over the BMW M8. But let's have a discussion about this in the comments down below. Do you like Aston Martin? Do you like where they're going at the minute in terms of design language? Do you think that the DB11 is a cool car? Let me know. Let's have an argument in the comments section down below. And please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to check out more videos. Also, if you're an owner out there that wants to basically chuck the keys to some cars, then please DM me on Instagram at SidNorth, or also jump in the comments down below, or also go on my emails and that as well too. Anyway, till next time folks, see you later.